Iran issues a warning directly to the United States, and to make matters worse, they did it in New York City. I mean, have you ever had that much bad blood with somebody that you decided to just kind of show up in their living room, sat down, propped your feet up on their sofa, and then proceeded to threaten them right inside their home? Because that's basically what Iran just did.
Today in New York and the United Nations, I say frankly to the American statesmen who are now managing the genocide in Palestine that we do not welcome to expansion of the war in the region. But I warn, if the genocide in Gaza continues, they will not be spared from this fire. It is our home, and West Asia is our region.
Well. Those are certainly some fighting words, and to do it right here on U.S. soil is just straight up disrespectful if you ask the critics of this administration, because that's the point, right? They're practically saying that they don't fear the Biden administration at all. This after Americans, at least 24 of them, of which were actually reported, have been injured by what the White House is calling an intensified targeting of American personnel overseas.
Drone attacks on U.S. bases in Iraq and Syria last week, more of an impact than we previously knew about, with the concerns raising some fears that U.S. soldiers and citizens and Americans living in the region could end up caught in the crossfire of a bigger war. Right now, these U.S. warships are gathering in the region. There's the second aircraft carrier group set to arrive really any day. And the mission here for the destroyers and cruisers and jets that you see here for now is to bring this kind of show of force to scare off anybody trying to take advantage of the chaos between Israel and Hamas. That could change fast, though. Of course, if a big number of Americans need to get out of some kind of rapidly escalating war in the region, if this does expand.
But another piece of that is for this potential, if Americans have to be brought out of Israel or even a number of countries around Israel, those military forces there could support. One of the main efforts would most likely be from a Marine Expeditionary Unit, the 26th MEU. It is in the northern Red Sea on the USS Carney. One of the things that a Marine Expeditionary Unit, or a MEU, trains for is a non-combatant evacuation. So they have the training to go into a place, especially if it's a contested or dangerous environment, and provide security and get Americans to safety.
Now, again, it just shows just how little they think of us, and probably of our president, because, I mean, like, this is way beyond, like, saber rattling at this point. They're basically poking the United States with a stick. But don't look now, as our fighter jets, well, they're firing back. Now, before we get any deeper into this, do you guys think that there's a chance, at least a sliver of hope, that we avoid yet another world war? Comment a quick yes or no if you think that we can avoid World War III or not. And while you guys are at it, go ahead and smash the like button for the video and subscribe to the channel. Turn on all notifications so that you can stay up to date on breaking news like this. I appreciate the support, you guys.
The prospect of this crisis becoming a more general regional crisis took another small uptick this morning, early on, when the United States attacked IRGC, Iranian Revolutionary Guard bases, or a base in Abu Kamal, right on the border between Iraq and Syria. And the United States said that this was an arms cache and an operational center, which is entirely plausible. They attacked it with two F-16 aircraft, which are the great workhorse of the American Air Force, the sort of F-16s that Ukraine will be getting next year. But these are the sort of things they use for it. And the reasons that the Americans attacked this base is because they have been subject to attack day after day in the last week or so, in particular at the Al-Tamf military base just on the southeast of Syria, and more at the Al-Assad military base in Iraq. One of the local groups, the Islamic Revolutionary Group of Iraq, claim lots more attacks on military bases. The Americans haven't confirmed that, but undoubtedly many attacks are taking place on American troops. So the Americans are responding to make it clear that they will not tolerate attacks, even though nobody's been killed yet. There have been quite a few injuries, and they don't want this trend to continue. The United States is reinforcing all of its power in the Middle East with more aircraft going in, more troops being put on standby, and naval forces.
Now, this is pretty much in line with what Anthony Blinken said in the UN as well. Check this out.
Now, it is no secret to anyone in this room or on this council that for years, Iran has supported Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, and other groups that continue to carry out attacks on Israel. Iranian leaders have routinely threatened to wipe Israel off the map. In recent weeks, Iran's proxies have repeatedly attacked U.S. personnel in Iraq and Syria, whose mission is to prevent ISIS from renewing its rampage. So, let me say this before this council, and let me say what we've consistently said to Iranian officials through other channels. The United States does not seek conflict with Iran. We do not want this war to widen. But if Iran or its proxies attack U.S. personnel anywhere, make no mistake, we will defend our people, we will defend our security swiftly and decisively.
What do you guys make of that? Man, things are heating up so quickly that I'm just really having a hard time digesting all of this stuff. But don't worry, guys, I do all this for you guys, so I'm gonna always make sure to stay on top of this and keep you guys informed. I wanna be honest with you folks. I'm not happy reporting this update to you guys, but the truth has to be spread out. And the truth is, it looks more and more likely that we're inching towards a direct conflict with Iran. And the question on everybody's mind is, will this pull up more nations? In other words, I'm talking about Russia, China, North Korea, all these nations that would align instantly with Iran to take on the power of the United States. And then from there, do we then realize what many of us fear? Do we actually enter into World War III? I mean, that's the worst case scenario. And, it's kind of like, we just went through a pandemic. How tough is it going to be for Americans to have to face a world war after that? I mean, this just leads to another question. What's the response going to look like from our allies? We're always pumping money into these other countries. How many other countries are going to come to the United States aid? Now, if we check with the UK, well, their citizens aren't very happy with what's happening. In fact, thousands of citizens in London marched through the center of their capital to demand that their Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, call for a ceasefire. It's not just them, though. They're seeing even more people around the world calling for an end to these battles.
Demonstrators are now mobilizing in some of the most recognizable places around the world, disrupting order and demanding their governments intervene. Calls for a Gaza ceasefire got loud in Los Angeles and Chicago, with thousands filling the streets. At this pro-Palestinian march in New York City, Orthodox Jews lined up, a sign of solidarity on their Sabbath.
The fact that they walk hours and hours to show support to Palestine is a true testament that this is not a religious conflict.
This sit-in, staged by a Jewish group, shut down New York's Grand Central Terminal late Friday. In New Zealand, Italy, and London, hundreds of thousands demonstrated in support of Palestinians.
What the Israelis are doing, this is genocide.
In front of a massive crowd in Istanbul, Turkey's president called Israel an occupier and war criminal.
What about you guys? Any thoughts on this? I mean, we are the one country that Iran has publicly called out, and with that, we're getting dragged into this thing whether we like it or not. But as I always do with all my videos, I'm leaving the last word to you guys. Are you in favor of the United States going into war? Or should they worry more about the domestic problems that everyday Americans like you and I face and think about every single day? Make sure you guys share your thoughts and opinions down below. And before I go, I have a brand new YouTube channel that I'd like you guys to check out. You'll find a link for it in the description down below this video, as well as in a pinned comment. Check it out. Let me know what you guys think. I want to thank you guys so much for dropping a like for this video. Thank you for subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.